Welcome back, fellow agents. It is I, X7, your host, your somewhat exasperated and frustrated host of Xenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters. Today we will be talking about dinosaurs, as you might have guessed. Well, we will not be talking about dinosaurs like this, pterosaurs. We will be talking about prehistoric animals, other prehistoric animals from the Sauropterygia, which means lizard flippers. Which the earliest of them appeared about 247 million years ago, at the start of the Middle Triassic. Now, Pachyplesiosaurs? Hold on a moment. Pachyplesiosaurs? Why, that sounds like Pachycephalosaurus. But they're not. Pachypleosauria. What does it say? Procentosaurus? They don't really have a picture of them. I don't recognize any of these names, so I would assume these haven't been found that early. And I digress. We aren't really going to be talking about pliosaurs or, we are. We aren't going to be talking about nothosaurs or the pachyplesiosaurs. Sorry, Lilith. But we will be talking about plesiosaurs, which of course are my favorite. And there's one just to hose me, just to remind me of what I couldn't find. Anyway, we're actually going to be talking about a wide variety of toys I have of plesiosaurs, plesiosaurus and plesiosaurs. So we have to go through that, don't we? So let's see, how do we got here? Plesiosaurs have been around. They've had partial skeletons around since 1605, 1719. And then, as we all know, I just saw her picture there. Well, back then they thought they were post-flood. But as we know who discovered plesiosaurs. It was Mary Anning. So, I discovered them early on, and I can't show you the picture of my first one because I can't find it, which is vexing. This is why I'm vexed. Trying to let it go. I took a picture of it with all of my Marx dinosaurs, which I can't find any of them, some 2 years ago. But if you can see him there at the top there, that is my Kronosaurus that came from my Marx Toys. That's in this issue, number 40 of Xenorama. It's still available on Amazon. It's all about prehistoric parks from many of them. So I highly recommend it. It's all in full color, too. So the Kronosaurus, which I can't find but still have, I've had since I was probably 5 years old. And it's not my favorite plesiosaur. I like them okay, but, they're Kronosaurs. They have big mouths and shorter necks. Kronosaurus is a pliosaur from the early Cretaceous. That one got chewed on a bit. I think that his tail is a little chewed up. I don't know who did the chewing, either the puppy, Tawny, Agent T, TD, Tawny Dog. She didn't get a middle name back then, although it could have been No-No. My next one I got when I was about 6 years old, maybe, that summer. Yeah, it's probably 6, because Fossil Bed was celebrating its centennial. And they had a fair, and I have 4 of these. I don't know where they came from. They're super tiny, as you can see. This one fits in my hand. Now, this is the one that really inspired me, because look at that long neck and the flippers. So it's probably a plesiosaurus, but it's really tiny. I don't know. Somebody will know who made these, and somebody will. I don't. I'm not that kind of toy expert. I just know what I like. Because, as you'll know, the only one I know was that one from Mark's playset. I think. I have more, and but we'll go with that. This one, I have a Parasaurolophus, and I should have a Dimetrodon somewhere. You might have seen them in that picture. So let's have him swim away. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, I know. It's one of the reasons I always wanted the Loch Ness Monster to be real because, Loch Ness Monster. Oops, if I can spell Elasmosaurus here. Elasmosaurus. There we go. Oh, they're my favorites. I like Plesiosaurs just fine. I'm going to get to here. Where are we here? So, my next one, I didn't get any. Well, I might have had some more, but I don't remember. But I know where I got this one, which will be coming into view. This one came from the San Diego Museum of Natural History, and it probably has a date on it and a time. I could look on its belly. Get in my belly. It says Elasmosaurus. There's not enough proper light in here. And yes, I will probably be getting a ring light before too long. But look at that jaw full of teeth. Now, Elasmosaurs have made they've kind of made a lot of appearances in movies, but none of them have been handled well. This is probably from the mid 90s. I went there several times. They had several different dinosaur and other prehistoric animal um, exhibits, and one about movies. The first plesiosaur, or Elasmosaurus, as it's called in the script, is in King Kong, 1933, RKO, one of the greatest movies ever made. He fights after he's captured Anne. He's fought the T-Rex in one of the greatest battles, ape versus dinosaur battles ever filmed. In fact, the greatest. Sorry, none of those others. As much as I love King Kong Escapes with him fighting Gorosaurus, nothing tops that very first one. And Peter Jackson failed miserably. But it's called like flipper lizard, or most people think it's a snake because of the way it moves. And back then, they thought Elasmosaurus, the neck, would move like that. Spoiler alert, they don't. Now this one I got at the bank, my credit union. They had this and a Triceratops, which I kind of wish I'd have asked for both of them, but I didn't want to be greedy. They were just sitting there, and here he is, and he's got the neck can move. The flippers are. I think this is from a Jurassic Park thing where they've never shown a single Plesiosaurus. It says Elasmosaurus on it, but look at this neck. It's not nearly long enough. The Elasmosaurus was almost 40 feet long, the biggest ones, but the Plesiosaurus was not. Let me get back up here. Plesiosaurus, they ran about 3 meters or 18 feet, not nearly 40 feet. They'd only be slightly scary if you saw that swimming up under you, which they wouldn't be because they were probably shallow water dwellers. One of the more famous plesiosaurs that was on in the third season of Land of the Lost was Lulu, the two-headed one. Not particularly realistic, but what does she eat in there, and why were they afraid of her? They just had to move out of her reach of her both of her heads. All right, so there's 3 of them, plus the Chronosaurus I couldn't find to show you. Those are small too. Now, there wasn't another. An Elasmosaurus showed up in the Land Unknown. Most people call it a Flipposaurus because all you see are the head and the 2 flippers. But it's a mechanical. It's the one in King Kong has really stubby little fins that you have to really look for, and in murky pre-DVD Blu-ray prints you really couldn't see them. But anyone who knew the movie, had read about it, studied it, it was supposed to be an Plesiosaurus or Elasmosaurus. The one in the Land Unknown has got a mouthful of ugly teeth and is pretty impressive. And if Sven Gulli ever airs that movie again, we will review it here. But the movie's good. It's really a potboiler, but the suits are kind of a letdown. But the movie's got really a pulp feel to it. They crash in Antarctica and Savage Land. Oh, wait, that was before the Savage Land. So our next one here, I know exactly where I got this. This says Elasmosaurus, 20 18 maybe. Let's say that. But I was up in Fort Collins, the Fort of the Collins, north of Fossil Bed here, and this was in some store which we went into. I was with Lilith and a friend of hers, or an acquaintance, I don't know. So I bought this, and Lilith actually got a Draco Rex for her birthday later on, or let's say Christmas probably. This one's got, it's probably closer to life, closer to what they did. See how the neck just goes out? The heavy vertebrae in the neck would probably not allow for such bendy necks, even though we all want them to be able to do that. The flippers are very well done. The color's really nice. It's green and yellow. No stripes like this little guy or this big one. Obviously, they are two different sizes, two different scales, or maybe a male and a female. Who knows? Phenomena. Do 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 do. Okay. So yes, that was the next, and so fine. And then our next ones, I got this. This one is a yeah. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. It's not an Elasmosaurus. It's not a Plesiosaurus or an Autosaurus or any of the smaller ones. It's not a Chronosaurus. This one is Plesiosaur, which was a branch off of Plesiosaura, and it is, of course, a Lioplerodon, and naturally, it's a magical Lioplerodon, of course. I can't make the noise. I wish I could. It's a magical Lioplerodon, Charlie. Guys, this one's for you, Becky Jean. So, it's not stuck on a rock. We never found out how that happened, but it didn't eat Charlie, so that's a plus. Look at the size of those jaws. This was not a Tylosaurus a Mosasaur. This was different. This was part of, because it was just a different species altogether. They think that it could have been Walking with Dinosaurs depicted them as reaching 82 feet or 25 meters, but they were probably a bit smaller than that. We just don't know, and we never will know, because just recently, and I hope I'm not intruding on Sabrina and Garrett's. Do I even have one? Sabrina and Garrett's territory, but they found some scientists have conjectured that the Tyrannosaurus was probably even bigger than this. What they're Look at those teeth. That's pretty impressive. That the Tyrannosaurus was even bigger than the fossils imply, which would just be both terrifying and awesome, and probably I'd get eaten because I wouldn't run. All right, I've got two left here, and the next one, I will admit, did come from Amazon. And yeah, I don't have any idea. No markings on this at all, but it's beautiful. It looks a lot like the one that was featured in the rather boring dinosaur movie, When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth. Now, Harryhausen never animated this. The animation for the Elasmosaurus / Plesiosaurus, because the cavemen didn't know what the heck it was done by Jim Danforth. And it's a great looking monster, but you feel sorry for it because it gets roasted to death, and it just was on land, probably trying to lay eggs. We'll never know. There's also the Crater Lake monster, which is from 78, maybe 78. It's a wonderful looking Plesiosaurus, vicious looking one that roamed around on the ground, which they now know was probably not possible that they gave live birth to. This is 200 years of Plesiosauria. And before I get to the last one, I would like you all to remember to like, share, subscribe, vote in the poll, do all the fun stuff. I'd really appreciate it. Leave a comment. And I hope you have your Stone Age wheat cakes here, probably fish cakes at this point in time. These creatures, of course, were dwelt in the water, but they were not amphibious, so they're not frogs or amphibians. Sorry, Frog. Agent Frog probably won't mind. They're also not Triceratops, obviously. So, yeah, at the end, it's better to say it at the end, right? My last one here is a tiny little one, But the fun thing about this I got this. Becky Jean sent it to me from Scotland. She'd been over to Scotland and went to Loch Ness. I also have a keychain, which I should have went and got while before I started recording because it's a cute little keychain. But look at how tiny this one is compared to the biggest, these two, this monster. I would say this is a Plesiosaurus. Unfortunately, as much as I want to believe that the Loch Ness monster is A, real, and B, a plesiosaur, I'm pretty sure it's not real, and I'm almost 100% sure it's not a plesiosaurus because it has a neck. Its neck goes like this one. And we all know that this just doesn't happen anymore. Sorry, Nessie. I want to believe, but unfortunately, you make it difficult. And of course, the plesiosaurs a lot of them were found in England. Here near Fossil Bed, when you go out east, where the shallow prehistoric sea was in the Cretaceous, you find a lot more mosasaurs, but not here. They're not up here in the Jurassic, the Morrison Foundation, which is, of course, that's Dinah. Anyone who doesn't know, from Vernal. So, well, fellow agents, that is our episode for today. Just remember, if you need to find your dinosaur toys, look for them. Don't wait until the last minute, 10 minutes before you want to broadcast, because it'll just frustrate you. Until our next assignment and the less annoyed X7, this is X7, signing off.